Arjun Vaidya, has been the founder of Dr. Vaidya's, a hugely successful Ayurvedic healthcare brand, which has since been acquired by the R.C. Sanjeev Goenka Group. Today, Arjun is a venture lead at Verlinvest, which invests in companies such as Sula, Epigamia, Viva, and Heads Up for Sale. Just in 4 years of launching the brand Dr. Vaidya's, you managed to scale up so well. You've launched 80 products, you've had 2 million plus transacting customers. So, what are the factors that go behind a rapid and successful scale up like that?
It's a great question. And I would say that I'll take you back to the journey of where we started and our failure and then eventually what got us success, right? So Dr. Vaidya's, like most brands, started offline. And then we pivoted to online because we failed miserably offline. We launched in Bombay. We had 6 distributors. We put 10 lakhs of stock in the market. Eventually, we got all of this back. And we realized that we didn't know offline. There was too much competition and we had no right to win in this space, right? So we started off online. And the reason we started off online is because we realized that nobody was solving the Ayurveda problem online at scale. So that's what we set off to do. In November 2017, we launched our website. And in this online model, one thing I will say is my grandfather offered a free consultation in his clinic. And we decided to extend the same service online. So we offered a free consultation online. What we saw after a year is actually our customers were not only in Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai, and Calcutta. They were in Anantnag, Muzaffarnagar, Trichy, and Imphal, because nobody was offering these customers high quality Ayurvedic products and care at the touch of their fingertips. And that's something that as Dr. Vaidya's, we were able to give these customers, right? So I think it was that uniqueness of giving high quality Ayurvedic products and care using the power of digital at the touch of consumers' fingertips that allowed us really to differentiate and scale exponentially, because incremental value that nobody else was offering, and that gave us a differential mode that made us stand apart.
Right. So many things that you've mentioned right now are just, standing out to me. So if in terms of advice to other startups on certain aspects that you mentioned, for example, how would they go about with estimating the market size? What is your advice to them?
Look, I think on market size, actually, while I had a job in private equity in finance before I started Dr. Vaidya's, I think the best way to test is to actually start, to put out samples, to give it to customers, to talk to customers. The great part about digital business is you actually can start small and see what happens. And you get enough data to see how customers are behaving and reacting, right? So my view on market size, whatever you read in newspapers and reports, put it to test and see what customers do. Rohan Mirchandani of Epigamia said a great thing on my podcast. He said, the moment customers take out rupees from their wallet and buy your product, that's the moment of truth for you.
Right, absolutely. He put it across so well. So, and in a similar vein, what about audience segmentation or audience profiling? How should a founder who's just starting out go about it?
You need to be something for someone and not everything for everyone. So I'm a big believer in brand and brand resonating to your consumer, right? Which means that there's that sort of customer profiling quadrant, which I suggest to all the people in my cohort-based calls also to do, where you actually put what the space is, map out where the other brands are, and actually find the white space where you sit. You map out what your customer persona is to a very detailed degree. For example, not just gender or age, but likes, dislikes, other brands they consume, their problems in the market, what they do in their free time. And this white space identification plus audience segmentation or customer persona will actually help you be something for someone, because today customers want to buy brands they resonate with, right? We earlier bought brands for what, and we bought brands for how. Now we buy brands for why. And so that resonating of brand, that's really important.
True. And what would be your take on pricing strategy? How can a founder get that right? Because it's one of the crucial aspects of a successful startup.
That's a very tough one to generalize. But I would say if I was to just theorize it and speak more generally or theoretically, I would say that you got to test out what value your product is offering and what the customer is willing to pay for that, right? The pricing strategy for a product in India will be different from the US because the value ascribed to that product in India will be different from that of the US. So you got to deeply understand what value you're offering the customers and then decide from there.
Right. And if you don't mind, maybe you could then share your experience of building Dr. Vaidya's and what was the pricing strategy that you had in mind?
Yeah, look, at Dr. Vaidya's, we were a mass premium brand. So we weren't the cheapest brand in the market, but we weren't luxury. We always like to sit in the middle of the market. You do two types of pricing, right? One type of pricing was see where competition is, and then try to be in and around slightly lower, slightly higher. The other type of pricing was understand our costs and then understand our gross margin infrastructure. And as long as both fit, that means you made the relevant amount of margin, but you also sat near competition. These are two things we kept in mind while determining price. So not the cheapest brand in the market, but not the most expensive. We like to sit in the middle.
When it comes to launching, there are so many factors, right? Getting the right time in the market and so on and so forth. What would be your suggestion on how founders can get the launch strategy correct?
At least for digital business, I would say when you think of launch, think of pilot first, testing out with customers, and then moving to large scale launch. That's the way I would look at it because you're able to iterate on feedback before you go forward. That's the key for me.